Is there a trade-off between client service and price? I think partly depends on how you define client service. So if you define client service as very narrowly about the benefits that clients are perceiving, then I think there's an element of truth there, because we can certainly deliver more benefits if we spend more money. So I think there's an element of truth. But if you define client service more broadly, if you define client service as actually doing what's right for the client, then we actually need to make those trade-offs about how much is appropriate to spend, what's proportionate to what's at stake. And once we make those trade-offs, it's actually our role to communicate to the client and help them understand why we're suggesting this is what needs to be done and this is how much it's going to cost, and help them understand that that's right. So I think if we define client service more broadly, I don't think there's a trade-off. I think it's all part of the same. To that end, I actually think we can deliver even more value once we've gone through that process of thinking about what's appropriate to spend, what are the benefits, what's the cost, what's appropriate, is even exploring with the client, you know, if we were to spend more, here are some additional benefits that we could deliver. Here's ways that we could reduce risk further, for example. Or alternatively, if you don't have that amount of money or you would like to spend less, then here's what we would take off the table, but here are the risks that you'd be taking. So giving the client, empowering the client to have choice as to which of those actually delivers greater value to them. And this idea of providing options is the number one pricing tactic that actually is used in all markets, but it's not used very well in law. And it's one area that we are starting to see increase. And it really is empowering clients to choose the value that is best for them.
Yeah, I agree on options. It's very powerful, and when you go online and you make a selection of an online service, it gives you options. You want green, gold, platinum, and you can do exactly the same when pricing your services and offering up options to your clients, because it changes the conversation from how much is this going to cost to which option do you prefer. It's very powerful. I do think that there are cases where client service and price butt heads, and where they really are kind of mutually exclusive in the sense that I think we fail to understand that different services have vastly different value to clients. I like this idea that we are in two different businesses. I wish I'd coined these terms, I borrowed them. But we're in the magic business and we're in the logic business. So the magic business is the ideation, problem solving, innovation, where there's a lot of brain power that you bring to bear against a client's problem. That's the magic business. And the logic business is more the repeatable, standardized kind of things that we do, which is the implementation and execution and part of what's involved. And in the professions, there are aspects of magic and logic in almost everything we do. So the magic work is of high value to clients and is high margin business. We tend to undercharge for it. And the logic business is of lower value to clients, lower perceived value to clients. So when we have something like a standard hourly rate, which applies to both magic and logic, it really bothers clients to be paying that kind of a price for work that they see as of much lower value. And that's one of the big problems with the hourly rate, and worse, the blended rate, in which you average all of the rates of the firm as a blended rate. That's the worst possible solution, the worst idea anyone's ever had for pricing professional services, I think.